So my name is Ana Gonzalez-Reiche, and I am an instructor at Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. I am a virologist by training, and I've been working at Mount Sinai for the past 6 years. So I started studying viruses back in Guatemala, my home country. And I was interested in looking at virus evolution in wild animal reservoirs, in particular vector-borne viruses like West Nile virus and also avian influenza virus. I then pursued a PhD at University of Maryland before coming to Mount Sinai to do a postdoctoral training. So currently I'm working in studying how viruses spread and how they evolve. So mainly I started studying influenza viruses, but influenza viruses are also very related to the human influenza viruses or the common flu. So that also led me to expand my research not only to wild animal viruses, but also clinically relevant viruses such as the flu. And then in 2020, I also got involved in studying the evolution and introduction of the pandemic of SARS-CoV-2 into New York City. And the way we study the spread of the virus is by actually doing genomic sequencing so that we can reconstruct the trajectory of the viruses, how they, for example, were introduced in a certain location, or how they emerge during a certain outbreak and how they spread from there. Since I started working in virology, I have had the fortune to work in labs in the US, but also like outside of the US. And that has given me like broad exposure to like the different research environments under which virology studies are carried on. In addition, having started with studying animal viruses also gave me a larger understanding how important the environment and also the context of the virus infection can affect the virus evolution and determine the dynamics of the virus transmission, for example. So then when it comes to studying viruses under a clinical setting, I always try to remember to take that context as a whole into account. Like, even though virology is, of course, our most important subject matter is the virus itself, we cannot ignore like all the environment, whether that is like inside the cell or in the host, but the host also in its own environment, and how that can affect and determine the fate, basically, of the virus. Yeah, so back in March of 2020, or I would say maybe February, when we started hearing about the SARS-CoV-2 virus, back then just known as novel coronavirus, that was circulating in Asia and started to circulate around other regions in the world, we started preparing for the possibility that it might arrive in New York City. So early on, like, we had to switch from, just doing the influenza surveillance that we were already doing in the hospital, and find a way basically to adapt our methods and protocols to detect and be able to sequence the the genomic material of the new coronavirus. So that became the top priority after the first case was reported in New York City, which was one of the cases, the first case also that we were able to sequence of this virus to understand where the virus was coming from. Soon after, we were sequencing hundreds of samples, and we also had to find a way to transform all of our workflow so that we could deploy every resource that we had to make sense out of how the virus was spreading in the city. So currently I am still working on projects related to SARS-CoV-2, in particular to understand how the virus evolves within a single host, how during some infections, the virus can accumulate multiple mutations, either in response to the immune system or other factors that are inherent to the host that is carrying the infection. So one of the things that I am also currently working on is combining like the use of the powerful genomic sequencing technologies that I have trained since I arrived at Mount Sinai, and then combining that with my background in virology to understand better virus emergence and viral evolution. So my idea is that in the future, I can establish also like my own independent research group to lead efforts towards understanding pathogen evolution and how the viruses behave by using like these different technologies. Yeah, so what I like about working at Mount Sinai is that it has allowed me to experience what interdisciplinary research is. We work with a number of collaborators within Mount Sinai. So I am at the genetics and genomics department, but even as a virologist, so I get to interact like with the microbiology department, who has also like a very large and prestigious group of virologists. And I also get to interact with other people working on other areas of research to actually acquire the skills and develop certain methods that I can later apply to virology. I also like having the opportunity to interact with scientists from all over the world. So Mount Sinai is like a very diverse institution. And I really enjoy learning about the experiences of people from, basically all different types of backgrounds and cultures. Throughout the years I've been on Mount Sinai, I have also felt like support, not only from the institution, but also like from my mentors. I appreciate that, how the science is valued and how close the science can be to, or how how our research findings are very close like to what's happening in the clinic, which is something that I hadn't experienced before, and it's very rewarding.